What's up? It's Dave. It's Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new release from UK sludge merchants GURT. The band's new album, Satan, etc., will be released on June 7th via When Planets Collide. It's been 5 long years since Party Doom riff merchants GURT released their last crushing opus, Bongs of Praise. Now on June 7th, they are set to return with their latest, crushingest opus yet.
Crushingest. Love it.
Satan, etc.
Yeah. Before we even get to that, maybe one of my favourite album covers of all time.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk about that, actually.
And a t-shirt, please.
Yeah.
Address will be sent to you. It's fucking, honestly.
A lot has happened in the band members' lives since 2019. Some suffered tragic losses, some welcomed new life into the world, some grew awesome skullets, not to mention that global event in 2020 that kept us all inside.
Yep.
In January 2024, GURT took these new songs into the mighty Monolith Studios in London under the watchful eye of Steve Sears. They birthed the magnificent, monstrous Satan, etc. This album marks GURT's 5th collaboration with Sears, who always coaxes the best out of the band with a healthy mixture of positive support and scathing insults. When asked about the influences and inspiration behind this album, vocalist Gareth Kelly states, "It's about survival in this very fucked up world we live in, but of course delivered in the band's tongue-in-cheek style." Drummer Bill Jacobs says, "We wanted shorter, punchier songs to go with the new aggro vibe, nothing to do with us being older and fatter." Whilst bassist David Spicy Blakemore enigmatically adds, "I've been listening to lots of Slavic hardcore." Delving into varied topics from bodged vasectomies to the beauty of brown cars, from self-pleasure on Arrakis.
There's some song titles here which are fucking genius.
To the wholesome matter of how goddamn much Gareth loves his kids. Satan, etc. is the sound of the band ready to get back into doing what they love most. Having a great big sludgy party with their rabid fans. Party Doom has evolved. So, GURT. I'd heard GURT before. I couldn't remember which album I'd listened to. And then when I saw the cover of Bongs of Praise, I was like, right, okay, I remember this. It's all flooding back to me now.
So long ago, but it's all coming back to Dave.
It did, yeah. But that actually got me to thinking. The artwork for a GURT release always kind of grabs your attention, and Satan, etc. is no different.
You can see it on the video here. If you can't see in the video here, the artwork will appear on the audio version. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if Dave does the artwork in the audio version. But for those that are just listening to audio, not video, it is like the metal horns, but the 2 fingers that are producing to do the horns have 2 hands growing out them, also doing the metal horns, which they themselves are protruding hands doing the metal horns. Yeah. It's fucking genius.
Also against a bright pink background.
Oh yeah, this is. I want a t-shirt that colour.
Yeah.
I want my bathroom to be that colour. And I won't be happy until I get either or both.
Okay.
Or neither.
So I enjoyed the last album, Bongs of Praise. It was a fairly hefty slab of sludgy, stonery kind of groove metal, plenty of southern licks, big filthy production, and great song titles. That they all had some form of weed involvement in the titles of that.
Got you.
My favourite was Mary Warmchair. Mary Warmchair. Which is just awesome.
Oh man.
This album, a little less on the stoner references, and more just about the straight up heaviness, to be honest. But still, kind of keeping that playful side intact. production wise, there is a difference. This one definitely leans more on the more kind of like metallic side of things. The last one had that kind of like stoner smokiness on it, but that's not really the vibe they went for on this one. It's all about the girth and the kind of like corrosiveness on Satan, etc. The guitars definitely sound a little bit kind of sharper, a bit more bite to them. And the riffs like really kind of like cut through the mix on this one.
The riff factory is what GURT should be called. The amount of fucking riffs where I was like, oh Jesus Christ! Like,
you know what?
All the way through this album, I was just like, oh fucking hell.
When I was listening to this, I was like, who this band would pair up with perfectly? Arm for Apocalypse. Like, they should be on a bill with Arm for Apocalypse.
That's not the band I was thinking about. You know who we should get opening that gig? Who? I'll tell you right now, Church of Misery. Church of Misery, GURT, Arm for Apocalypse tour.
Yeah.
Proposed 2024, coming your way if me and Dave become millionaires. I'll book it. I can book it tomorrow.
There was definite similarities between those bands. I never really noticed it before from GURT, but a lot of these tracks have a much kind of like darker vibe. Tracks like Knife Fever or Appetite for Construction.
It's not Knife. It's Knife Fever, Knife Fever. We know how to do it.
Okay.
In your stomach, you cunt. No, is that not how that goes? No.
I mean, we'll take comment from the band on that one. I'm not sure.
100% it's Night Fever. It's a play on Night Fever. Has to be.
I'll take your word for that.
Thanks, Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, the sound you're hearing right now is Duncan being thrown under a bus. Fucking hell.
But the weight and the kind of tone of those, those tracks pretty much, it leaves all that kind of quirky side of the band a little bit, behind this time. And this time it just kind of goes kind of straight up savagery. I also loved that on that track, there's a little kind of like hi-hat ride kind of groove on that. Which,
a Davey groove.
Yeah, that was like right up my street. I was like, yes, Bill, I like it. But to be honest, I quite like this more like kind of serious side from the band. It's, a little bit darker in places, but I really like the shift in tone they've brought to this album. The fun stuff still comes out as well though, like they haven't like abandoned that. So you still like on tracks like Sandworm Fleshlight, has a little kind of cheeky riff that's like a more like amped up scissor fight or something. It's also got a kind of livelier kind of vocal tone as well, sits in a slightly higher register as well. And the closing track, Electric Brown, also has a bit of a kind of swagger to it, a bit of cowbell, a little bit like tones of like early Raging Speed horn in there as well. And again, vocally Gareth keeps it rhythmically really interesting as well, with lyrics that are a bit kind of catchier on that track. I love like the one thing that I really love on this one is the switch ups on this are awesome. Like I think over time I think they've got better at that, and on Satan etc. I think the switch ups are just totally seamless and just really satisfying. But you can hear that they're always trying to kind of improve on what they've done before. Like at no point do these tracks ever go like back the way in terms of quality. The riff that precedes the one before always sounds like bigger and more elevated. They also do those like really slow grooves like really well on this. I lost count of how many times I was just like swaying back and forth at my desk when I was working. Really infectious. I think like the Iron Monkey album we reviewed about a month or so ago, it's kind of similar, and there's something to be said for bands that know their sound and they know how to kind of improve on it each time they put something out. And GURT have put out another release that delivers big on the riffs, the grooves. It's got that like bowel loosening production. And I like the kind of balance that they've got on here with the kind of serious stuff and the more kind of fun elements on the release. I think that like big kind of hefty side, that more kind of the darker side is going to sound huge live. I think that's going to be really cool to hear that added into their live set. I didn't really have anything like overly critical to say about this one, to be honest. I know the guys had said that they kind of wanted to make these tracks a little bit shorter and a little bit more to the point. I kind of felt like there was a couple of tracks they could have extended a little bit, if I'm honest. Like, there's nothing excessively long on this album. The last track is the longest track. I think it's like over 6 minutes. But there was like 1 or 2 tracks I thought like a little bit more length might have gained like a bit more reward from it, to be honest. Like they've got the chops to switch things up. Like they're never short of ideas. So like it's an easy adjustment to make if they were kind of open to that. But to be honest, that aside, this has so much to like on it. Like if you're a fan of sludge and doom, big riffs, then this is a no-brainer. Like it has, like the UK has like a killer batch of sludge bands that really don't get as much recognition.
I think there's American sludge feels like swamps, British sludge feels like granite buildings and concrete, just the concrete jungle. That's what it sounds like, and I think it makes it more metal than American sludge has that southern tone that we get. The American one has a more metallic tone, and I really like that. And like you say, there's a like an unchecked list of bands that perform at such a high fucking level that just seem to be. It's not that they're overlooked. I just don't think they're not promoted as much as they should be.
Yeah. I totally agree. I hope this album kind of puts them on more people's radars, and definitely go out and see these guys live. Which I think like live, I think these guys would like just tear you on your asshole, to be honest. I imagine like it'll have that kind of weight and bass to it that'll just like empty your colon. You know what I mean? Just with no need for a plastic tube.
We'll not be sitting beside you, Dave, and we'll be standing further away.
Yeah, I have no idea why I'm talking about assholes and colons so much in this review.
Loose Dave is what they call you. Loose caboose.
Must be the GURT effect. What did you think? What did you make of this one from GURT?
This is my tempo, right? So I love me some big old nasty sludge, right? And I hadn't heard GURT before, so this was my first listen. I'm surprised they're British, although the more we talk about it, the more they're obviously British. Like to me, this. It's the element component parts. It isn't necessarily the tracks that stand out for me, which might sound like a slight, but really isn't. I'm working my way to my justification. But it's the component parts. Like you've guitarists that have an endless supply of fucking incredible fucking riffs. You have a production which knows exactly how much of that metal to have in there, exactly how much of that live room feel. I mean, it really, really does have that kind of, we're all in one giant room together and we're just fucking, we ain't leaving until we've got it down. The vocal tone, man, that register, those big, just a tiny wee bit of reverb over them, so they just like sprawl out. I eat that shit up for days, man. I fucking absolutely love it. And then the kind of, like you mentioned, the switch ups, but the cheekiness of the band to like when you listen to, like, you're over the halfway mark when you listen to "In You Go," and when that riff kicks in, it's like Black Sabbath's fucking ugly, heavier fucking brother, Dank Sabbath. Dank Sabbath comes in. It's like it sounds like fucking ugly, right? Yeah. And so much of this album sounds ugly, but if sounding pretty means you don't get to be this rad, then fucking make me ugly. I just kind of get like that. It's a track that has it's the first track on it that had the kind of fun, quirky, full-on personality from start to finish. But it's all through here. It's through song titles, it's segments. But like you say, there's a menace to this as well. There's an overbearing, like that, like being kind of trapped in the pit with someone and looking around and realising everyone's bigger than you. It kind of has that kind of encompassing feel. And the way the production and the songs are designed as well, there isn't really any space at all. Things will ring out, but even when they ring out, you're still trapped in. Yeah. I love that about it. It's such a full sound. I also think that the album, for being relatively one note overall of genre, the same way Iron Monkey was, it really works. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you are confident enough, 5 albums in or whatever, to like know that the things you need to do to change your sound or improve it, or maybe focus and tighten certain sections without losing any of that attitude, then just do that. Like, no one's saying like you need to have like a hip hop beat on track 4. Like what? Like I like that attention to it, and as a result, this feels laser focused. I know what you're saying. There are certain tracks where you feel like you're just hitting your groove, and the track's kind of leading out. I wonder how that plays live. I don't know if the band extend things out or do things in a different way, and or maybe have kind of shortened things down because from their perspective it's an album you can fuck around live. I don't know. But yeah, like to me, there was bits where I was like, a track would finish it and I was like, I hope the next one goes double time, and then the next track would come in like much faster. And then there was other tracks where I was like that. I really just have a fucking hankering for a slow groove, and then the next track would anticipate that. And that shows me that the band themselves are focused on the flow of the album. It's also not like, for as conventional a Sludge album it isn't wholly predictable either, which I really like about it. They will throw a heavier riff than in an area that you might not expect, or actually go the other way and play less notes and let things ring out a lot more in segments where I just anticipate a switch to something quicker. And as a result, it's a fun listen to for a band that their moniker is Party Doom. I got that from this. Like, all I wanted was to shut my responsibilities of work, open a bottle of Jack Daniels, and get fucking ripped to my tits listening to Satan, etc. Like, every time I listen to it, I just get that feeling of, I want to see it live, I want to see it in a venue, I want to see it with a crowd, I want to have a good time. And I think they've captured that vibe perfectly on this album. The production, we mentioned it before, I think it sounds very much live room, but it's another one where you can hear the imperfections in a kind of joyous way. Like, if you've got good headphones on, you can hear the bits where guitars are maybe just cutting off a little bit early, or a bass ring runs a bit longer than it should. And that's perfect. That's what this should be. This is not about precision. This is about vibe, and this is a fucking vibe album from start to finish. So yeah, I thought this was really good. I've never heard of them before. Didn't know they were British. And like you say, they're now on the list of incredible British sludge bands that maybe don't get the spotlight, but at the same time, I think it's one of those things that we can celebrate in the UK, as we have one of those scenes which is still kind of underground, with bands that are super fucking talented. So yeah, Satan, etc. Thumbs up from this guy.
Okay, final thing, scores for Satan, etc. Loads of fun, heavy as balls, riffs for days. Need to see it live. 4 out of 5. What about yourself?
Can I just steal those taglines and just do the same thing? Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5. Once again, I say this every now and again. You listen to this album, you don't enjoy it. The problem is you, not the band, right? So, sorry.
For sure. GURT, Satan, etc. Out on June 7th on When Planets Collide. Links below to the band, to the pre-order. Check them out, have a listen, see what you think. Stick your comments in. That is the review. Thank you for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.